I need to write it on my agenda. Start recording. All right, so I missed about 5 minutes. Thank you. I do have notes though, so I know who approved the minutes. Anyway, so busy summer. Does anyone have any thoughts or reflections on the summer as we move on and think about the fall?
It did seem really like there was a lot going on. Like even just with Music on the Green, there was a lot more conflicting events at the same time. So I don't know if we're like swinging the pendulum all the way over from not being able to do anything during the shutdown and then we'll get our rhythm back, or this is just how it always is. Because I honestly can't remember from 4 years ago. So I think it's good and I think we'll find our way. But yeah,
Yeah.
it seemed like we were on the edge of almost too much. Or maybe that was just me.
Yeah, no, I think kind of being right on the edge. People weren't saying it was too much. People were saying, is it? It felt like a lot. And some of us try to go to as many things as we can, and others pick and choose, and that's fine. I love that there's something to do almost every weekend, right? Or well, there's always something to do on the weekend, but like there was almost something big, like a concert or opening or something almost every weekend. So yeah. So just a lot happening. I do think post-COVID, organizations really shifted gears to the outdoor events. It pushed people into that space where maybe before they wouldn't have. And everybody enjoyed it so much, nobody wants to give it up. So, right? Yeah. All right. Moving on here, new homeowner mailings. As we've talked about before, it's been a really slow year. For July, there were 3 home sales, but then August, there were 11. It was our largest month this whole year. We had a lot of months with just 2 or 3 home sales. So I don't know what that means. I mean, August is, people trying to buy houses before kids start school is sort of a common theory, but that's not always us. Family households with young children make up a small percentage. And I was encouraged to see a handful of those August homes were under 500,000. That's, our average home price has been creeping up since post-COVID. Well, I shouldn't say it's skyrocketing up is really more the right word, doubling up. So it's interesting. We'll see if that becomes a trend or if it was an anomaly, but there were some home sales. And we continue to have the last few of the cards from the tax bills have trickled in. That was a huge success. We got a lot of new emails from that. And I spoke with Mandy. I'll get you the exact numbers from that for next month. I think I reported last month that I received over 50 cards to add to the email. But she said that the list went up by well more than that, like almost like by 100. So people, because I said right on the card, explained how to do it yourself. And I think a lot of people did. So that was a really worthwhile outreach. The letter went out the first week of September. We were 12 pages again. So that's something to keep an eye on. The winter is usually a small, like I don't expect necessarily to have 12 pages. I mean, we were always 8 and then 8, let's think, is that right? 4 pages? I think so. And then 10 became sort of the big one. And now we've had 2 with 12. So we'll have to budget accordingly moving forward. And it's just great. And I'm getting requests all the time for people to participate in the newsletter. I have had 1 or 2 requests, which I'm still trying to figure out. The people who are not necessarily part of a nonprofit or a town organization, but more like a private business. I'm gonna have to figure it. We've never used the newsletter except for the spotlight on a business that the WVA does as a town organization. So I have to just find a way to communicate that. But anyway, continues to be successful, and please, everybody, make sure you let me know if you don't get it. I do have an extra stack of the newsletters for the Harvest Fest, which is great. I don't always have a ton extra, but there was a little printing snafu and a couple of pages got printed upside down and they felt so bad about it, they gave me an extra box. So, which is great. So I have those for the Harvest Fest now. I was able to give a whole box over to Marty's. I should check too. They usually get rid of that. They go so fast over there. And Market still has theirs. Yeah, so that it all went well and people continue to appreciate the newsletter. Harvest Fest, October 8th. We'll talk about that a little bit more on the under new business, because we're going to talk about our table, but just communicating that and planning for that is something that I've been thinking about or working on. The Arts Council has been very busy. Working on, so the photo show, which we will also talk about later on the agenda, has been it's currently taking up a lot of the time, but they ran a successful logo contest, working on the cultural district, lots of enthusiasm, still trying to find their way, getting excited about trying to host events and realizing it's maybe a little daunting. So lots of great stuff happening there, and I think that Arts Council will continue to sort of gel and figure out what exactly their role is and what they hope to accomplish. I put affordable housing here just because I've spent a fair amount of time on affordable housing this last month. The Regional Housing Council has hired a consultant to help craft a message that for the northwest corner, all of the trusts and commissions, anybody working on affordable housing in the northwest corner is part of this Regional Housing Council, and the work is being facilitated by Jocelyn Eyre of the Litchfield County Center for Housing Opportunity, and they're working on putting together a kind of like a guidebook to guiding the conversation. And it's called case making, and it's really it's about outreach and how to get the message out and how to engage the community. So I've attended a couple of those workshops. I'm on the advisory committee working with the consultant, and yeah, there's just a lot of things happening there. And I mention it here because we know we've talked about this before, but how important affordable housing is to economic development. It comes up every time we talk to our employers or the arts organizations. Housing is such a challenge. It touches every part of our lives. So it's something I've been working on this month. And I just wrote planning and POCD because I work with the Planning Commission as well. And the POCD is due at the end of the year. Wayne is here, he knows this, and first drafts are being put together. Sustainability is a theme running throughout the upcoming update to the POCD, and yeah, the input from the EDC has been shared with the Planning Commission, and we'll have an opportunity to look at the draft that's coming forward to make sure any new to make sure that we're still on board with the things that were happening before, and to make sure any new changes are reflected. Wayne, do you want to share anything with us since I have that on there?
You covered it pretty well. We should have the completed first draft by the first week of October. Michelle saw what we have so far. We probably have the majority of the first draft kind of in place. There will be some negotiations among the commission members about what gets included and what gets discarded and whatnot. But once we have a first draft that we can all live with, we're going to post it on the town's website so everyone can look at it. It will be text only. It will not have pictures and graphs and charts and stuff. It'll just have the text. So the other goodies will get added later. And that's about it, unless anyone has specific questions.
Wayne, will you remind us of the, how it moves through, when is the is there a public hearing? Does it go to a town meeting? Like, how does it work?
It does not go to a town meeting. Once the planning commission is satisfied that it can go to a public hearing, the planning commission will hold a public hearing, which will be duly noticed and whatnot. Then the public can, provide comments, ask questions, whatnot. We also have to seek comment from the COG, and they usually submit written comments. After that, we present it to the Board of Selectmen, and if they accept it, then the Planning Commission votes to adopt it, and then it's in place. It's technically the 2023 plan. If it ends up being officially adopted in 2024, that's not a big deal. I mean, the current 2014 plan was actually adopted in April of 2015. So.
Good. Great, that's great. I couldn't remember about the town meeting, so public hearing, Board of Selectmen planning, so good to know the process and that it's coming up soon, so we'll keep everybody posted about that. The only other thing I wanted to just mention, and I forgot to write it down, but the winter lights project is coming up. I've already spoken with Barbara Rouillet, who does the ordering of the light. They've asked if more lights need to be ordered, so I need to get the small committee of WBA members and myself together that works on that. What people are already asking, so they look forward to the big globe lights being lit in the winter, but we have to start now planning for that and fundraising for that. So that's on my agenda. As soon as I get through this this photo exhibit, we'll be moving on to winter lights. It's hard to believe, but that's sort of on my docket. Does anyone have questions or comments about any of that stuff?
Michelle, I have a couple other things to add if you'd like.
Sure, go ahead.
First, I just wanted to update folks on Frontier's work to string fiber in the town. That has been delayed till 2024. I saw, initially I saw some of the Frontier trucks out here. They sent out a mailing to everybody and they were doing some preliminary, looks like, engineering work and whatnot. And then I didn't see them anymore. So I started to reach out, and it looks like they're not going to actually implement till 2024 now.
Great, thank you. I was going to ask Jim about that, but then he didn't pop in, so thank you for that update. And you were the first one to call their original schedule a little ambitious, so yeah. That also reminds me, I was going to mention it in WBA, but I don't want to forget the tech people here for town hall have been working on the Wi-Fi, getting Wi-Fi out to the pavilion, and it should be up and running in time for the Harvest Fest. That was one of the major concerns from the vendors, was the Wi-Fi out there. Mm-hmm. So they have used the CEN line that goes to the school. That is what we use for Wi-Fi in the depot, and beamed it over to the pavilion. And I should go down there and test it. They were here last week, Wednesday, and felt that it should be working by this week, but be good to just double check that. So that's wonderful and helpful. And the Wi-Fi in New Preston is on hold with I heard that the building that we were going to put it in may be on the market for sale, so that complicates things. And with Frontier possibly coming through, there might be a cheaper way to achieve what we were trying to do before. So I spoke with the tech guys about New Preston, and they want to maybe rethink what the original plan was. So we haven't forgotten, but it has not moved forward.
Yeah, Michelle, are we still working with the guys at Advance to do this,
Yeah.
or is it oh, okay. And well, I think that's great about the pavilion. I had I have somebody I work with in Litchfield on other matters. They've been trying to, they are jealous of our Wi-Fi in the depot, and they're trying to put Wi-Fi in the Litchfield Green and in Bantam, in their business districts, and they're having trouble, and the quotes that they're getting are way more expensive than our quotes. So not only did we get a good deal at the time, there is some neighborhood envy. So just thought you'd know.
That is great. Well, and I have to say, people here in the depot do use it. I forget about it because I actually have service. But, well, and I'm on the town Wi-Fi, like, I don't need it very often between my office and my home, but, people who don't have AT&T don't get service and they are using it in the depot. And so and they tell me when it goes down. I've had Zoe from the pantry or Liz from, 5 Janes, they'll email me immediately, hey, something's up with the Wi-Fi. So people are using it, which is great. And I'm hopeful. It was when I say the tech guys, that means at Advance, and they were gonna kind of come up with a new plan for New Preston. So we'll see how that pans out. Thanks, Wayne.
Sure.
All right. So next on the agenda, the nitty gritty stuff of the agenda here. Harvest Fest table for October 8th, 12 to 5. So it's coming up in a couple of weeks. We have had a table.
I'll do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll do it.
I'm so happy. It is fun. And so here's what I'm gonna tell you. And it has me a little, I'm not gonna say panicked, just gonna say concerned. Anyway, I'm gonna be out of town until sometime mid Harvest Fest. I have a family wedding in California. We're flying back that night on the red eye. So my goal is to get all the commissions that I'm working with that are setting up tables set and ready to go.
Okay.
Before I leave. But
Well, whatever you need. Whatever you need.
Great, thank you so much. And what we talked about this at the Arts Council, and I think it's a good idea for us. Hopefully you all agree. But the Arts Council is going to share a table with us, since they are a committee of the EDC or subcommittee, I guess. And I think because they're so new, they're just sort of introducing themselves, so they don't have like a lot of things to share. So I also thought it would be nice to have more people to help man the table. So
you're gonna need a bigger table.
What?
Bigger table.
Bigger table.
Absolutely.
Yeah, actually, I think I do usually bring my small one. We can bring one of the full, one of the larger, like the full 8-foot.
Yep.
So yeah, so that's great. And Victoria Rowan, who's the chair of the Arts Council, said she's happy to help on the front end on the setup part. So the festival starts at noon, and they are asking that all people who are doing setup be done by like 11:45, so you can get your cars out of there so that people can come and park closer. And people can park at my house across the street so if you want to drop your stuff, if you have stuff to drop off at the pavilion, do that. And then you can fill up my driveway, which is the yellow house across from the gym. So my plan for our table was to pretty much do what we usually do, which is to have copies of the newsletter, copies of our guidebook, and I don't think there are any other publications we usually have out. We're usually collecting emails for the selectmen's email. We usually have a raffle item.
We have a raffle, right?
So I'm pretty sure, I have to look in my office, I'm pretty sure I had a travel mug set to go for the community day that got rained out. So I'm pretty sure I have that. Maybe we could throw something else in with it if somebody would like to, if we want to make it sort of like a little basket. I also have 2 buckets of ring pops which were a huge hit because I got them for the community day that didn't happen. So the kids like those. So
Mhm.
they can come by and grab a ring pop, and we'll collect emails for and draw a raffle. Yeah. And that was kind of my plan, unless anybody has any other ideas.
Michelle, the Stewart's Floral has a cute pillow that says Washington. I don't know if that would be a good raffle thing too. Have you seen that?
Okay. No, I haven't, and I was just in there the other day, but I was looking for plants, so
She may have sold out of them.
Okay, Washington pillow. I'll try to pop over and ask her about that. That would be nice to just have like a little Washington basket to add to that. Any other thoughts on the table? I know Fran's gonna be there working with the WVA. Yep.
I can
And
help too, but probably not till like 3,
3.
like 3 to 5.
Okay, awesome. I'm gonna write you down. And Trisha, are you good on the setup side? You'd be good on the front end?
I am, just give me a list of what I need to do.
Okay. I'm gonna have everything packed up and ready to go before I leave town. which
Okay.
is- So on the Wednesday before, so we need to bring a table and chairs, but maybe I'll see if I can get Victoria ready for that. I love how they like to update in the middle of a meeting. Okay. Anyone else able to stop by the table or help? Who else do we have here? Let's see, Trisha.
What about
Kristen,
Kristen? She helped last year?
I'll let you know. I'm not sure my plans for that weekend yet, but if I'm around, I'll definitely help.
Okay. Thank you so much. Just yeah, let me know. If Trisha's on the front end and Robin's on the back end and Victoria is gonna be there. I feel like there might be a couple other arts council people that can pop through at some point as well. Not everybody was at our meeting last week, so I have to nail that down, but that should be good. And then it allows people to kind of wander around and enjoy the festival as well. So Trisha, I'll talk to you since Victoria said she'd help on setup too, and between the two of you, maybe one can grab the table and chairs, the other can grab the box with the tablecloth and stuff
Bruce
like
can
that.
help too. Bruce can help.
Okay, great. So we'll get that figured out. And if anybody has any other ideas of what they think we should be doing, please let me
think about
know.
it. Okay.
But the idea is just to introduce yourselves and people to Washington, welcome them here, and yeah, maybe make some connections with people.
One question that I have is, I'm often, not often, but it's come up several times about what's the EDC and who are we and what do we do and why should they care? And is there any way we can do kind of a little sheet of paper or something and give it out if somebody says, what's the EDC?
Sure we can. And what I've found, I need to put one of those together for the Arts Council. That was all the Arts Council was really gonna have, is sort of an introduction to themselves, who they are, what they do, and their logo. So yeah, and let's think about that. We have information on our website. I feel like I have a sheet, but like we can make a flyer and I can do a quick print.
I can do a draft, or you can do a draft and we can work on it if you want.
That would be great. I would love some help because I'm really
I know.
preoccupied with this art exhibit at the moment. So if you throw some thoughts together, whether we do a trifold brochure or just a front back, it could be a postcard or it could be a flyer size.
Nothing fancy, just
Yeah.
to explain a little.
And I think,
paragraph.
we don't need a ton. A small run, we're probably not gonna hand out even 50. So,
But it's good for future too.
yeah, oh, absolutely, absolutely. But I'm just saying, we could turn that around really quickly.
Okay,
If it's a huge run, then I need to send it off to a printer. Although the printer who does our newsletter has done some quick stuff for me before too, so
yeah,
we could absolutely do that. And I can throw something together in Canva and make it look fun,
okay.
some color, so it's not just like a white page.
Mhm.
So, thank you. That's a great idea. Anyone else? Stuff for the harvest.
Can I
Fest?
just say something else about the Frontier thing? I was just informed that Frontier is moving their corporate offices out of Connecticut.
Texas.
They're
To
doing,
Texas.
they're going to Texas, so,
Oh, I did not know that.
yeah.
Wow, I wonder if that has anything to do why now,
Right,
or,
Yeah, the short
Huh.
answer is no. I mean, it's the Frontier has a presence in like 23 different states. So it's people don't, Frontier basically was a company that bought up all the Baby Bells some years back, and they way overpaid for them, and they did so with borrowed money, which is why they went into bankruptcy. But they've restructured, and they're basically now just becoming a fiber company. So they will eventually string the fiber here in our town. They'll do what they said they're going to do, but I'm not surprised that they didn't meet the August deadline that they said they were going to meet. At the time when I met with them, I think Jim and I did a collective eye roll. We didn't think that was really going to happen. So, but it will, regardless of where their corporate headquarters are, they're eventually going to come through here and do it because it's part of their plan, and they've already done some of the towns in our neck of the woods. So we're definitely on the list.
good, well, good. I mean, I won't hold my breath, but good. Thanks for that update, and I did not realize that they corporate had moved, so that is interesting. All right, I think, let's see, I think that's everything kind of we needed to cover about the Harvest Fest. The next item on the agenda is the Washington Through the Seasons photo exhibit. So just to recap for everybody, nobody's here in person, which is so funny. I could share my screen, but maybe it's just easier to do this. This is the flyer, which I need to hang around town. It did go out in the selectmen's email, and it is on Explore. So this is the photos of Washington Through the Seasons. It was an EDC contest that in partnership with Julia and the people at Sandor Max that run Explore for us. Because the idea was to get more pictures of Washington that they could use, that they could have on file, so that when they need to do a social media post or they're writing their blog, they have a library of photos that they can use. And the photos were to be iconic and beautiful, were the kind of the descriptions of for and in Washington. So it was interesting that a small committee of people from Explore and myself chose winners, top 3 for each of the 3 seasons, looking for pictures that were really identifiable as Washington. But the EDC and Julia actually thought it would be really cool to do a photo exhibit. And when the Arts Council, when I shared that with the Arts Council, they got really excited about that and wanted to really help make that happen, which was great because we'll need sort of bodies to put this show together. So what I did a lot of speaking with ASAP, who've done photo exhibits before, to see like how many do you do, how large do you make them, all of that. So we're gonna have probably around 12 photos per season. So we got to expand beyond just the top winners. And those are I just sent them off today to be printed. So fingers crossed that all works well and there are no glitches there. but, so that is gonna be in town hall. And because we were gonna open it on the Harvest Fest weekend, but not enough Arts Council people were gonna be in town to pull that off. So we moved it forward to September 30th. So September 30th is a Saturday. The opening, the date times they chose were from 12 to 3, which sandwiches right between the farmer's market and then an opening that's happening at Judy Black a little bit later, maybe at 4. I don't remember, 3 or 4. And I think there's another I feel like maybe, I don't remember if Law or someone else is doing something. So there should be some traffic in town. We're gonna invite all of the artists, all the photographers. I have to get that email out hopefully tomorrow. It's been a challenge for me, just all of the submissions for the contest were in through this Google form and matching the people to their photo and figuring all of that out. It's been a little bit of a challenge, but I'm gonna sort that out. So we'll be notifying all of the photographers. And I'm hoping that the EDC, members of the EDC will come to the opening if possible. And if not, the show will be here in town hall for 2 weeks. So everybody should try to pop in at some point. The town hall is open, it'll be open during all regular hours. The second week of the show, I think there are meetings in here almost every night. So anytime the town hall is open, people are welcome to come. I'm also planning on coming. I'm gonna try to come on like a Saturday or Sunday to try to have some weekend hours. We were gonna print up a sandwich board to put out in the driveway so that people will know that it's open. So that is the plan. If anybody would like to help with that, if that's of interest to you, the week before, I'll be putting all the photos in the mats and getting the stands, and we're gonna have a little reception. So if anybody here is interested in helping in any way, that would be wonderful. We do have 4 or 5 people from the Arts Council who've said that they can help. So yeah, does anyone have any questions about that? No?
Michelle, how big are the photos that you printed?
I printed 11 by 14.
Okay.
So they're not huge.
Uh.
That gets, yeah, but and then I have a black mat to put each photo in, which makes it. I forget what the exterior dimensions are. I ordered those a little while ago, but yeah. No question. Oh, I should mention the Arts Council has spoken about this a lot. And when we email all the artists, I keep saying artists, photographers, I guess I'm not sure what the right word, I guess photographers. And I email all the photographers. We would like to be able to sell the photos and if people are interested, but we need their permission. And since that wasn't a part of the original contest, we're gonna get permission. So, and we're assuming that some will say yes and some may say no. Some are professionals and some are amateurs. The proposal is to give them the option to sell. We were gonna price them all at $50. We spoke with a couple of photographers who felt that that was an appropriate price for that size, and give the artists or the photographers the option to either sell it and donate the proceeds back to the Arts Council, or split the commission 50-50, which is like the normal gallery or within the range of normal gallery rates, or not sell it at all. So we'll see how that goes. So yeah, so we'll see how that goes. The Arts Council did get permission from the Board of Selectmen to set up an account so that they can do fundraisers and can add money to the small budget that they were given. So we'll see, we'll see what happens with that. None of us have really experience with doing that, so. All new stuff. Does anyone have questions? No? All right, well, great. Please, I hope you're able to come to the opening if possible. And if not, at least pop through. We've got some really beautiful, beautiful pictures. People did some really nice work. That's it for the agenda. Oh, no. That's it for new business. I did write onto mine though, before we go to the WBA, and I don't see Jim here, so I won't have a selectmen's report. But I'm wondering from those of you who are here, if you have topics that you would like for us to discuss in the future, businesses to invite, other commissions, consult, you know. I think it's nice when we have other people come and share things with us. I thought, you know, maybe we should have a conversation with like an EDC type person from a different town, just to hear about maybe what they're doing, or a business that represents a sector that we haven't heard from before. I don't know. Any other topics, things of interest?
Would it be appropriate to have somebody from the library come and talk about the new library? And what they might be doing in addition, and what might be available to the public that hasn't been, that kind of thing?
I'm happy to hear that. I don't know. It's, you know, the library is one of the nonprofits that we support as an EDC through the newsletter and everything like that. So I always feel like hearing from any of the organizations about new things happening is useful. I don't know, it's not necessarily like an economic development topic, but it's certainly an organization that is integral to the town. So I'm happy to ask them to do that. It's a nice idea. Anyone else?
Do we get any feedback from new businesses on how they're doing, like Stewart's Floral or Inari, or trying to think what other, Frederick's Optical, how those businesses are doing?
Some informal conversations. I know Inari has been relatively busy, although I haven't checked in with Fred in over a month. I keep hoping he gets busy enough, he'll expand his hours, but I have gotten feedback from people that they get frustrated because they go over and he's not open. But that's a good idea, just to follow up. And you know what also I feel would be helpful to me, because I can't be everywhere at once, but is for the commissioner, for all of you, if you know one of those businesses or you're in there and strike up a conversation, just ask them and bring that information back. Like, we're happy to have them come report to us, but we could also just have, you know, Kristen, if you're in Stewart's Floral and chatting with them and say, hey, you know, how's it going? We'd love to share that. You could share that back in an informal way.
Wonder if they'd be receptive. And just, you were talking about Inari, something about the business hours. Have you ever said to them, would you ever consider expanding your hours, or any of these other businesses?
Yeah, Trisha and I
based on the feedback you're getting.
So Trisha and I went and met with Crit, who's the chef / owner over there.
Dishwasher.
Gave him some suggestions, which he took right away. Bought that sandwich board, cleaned up the front window, like he was on it. They actually redid, I was in there not that long ago, they redid the floor and put in it and changed the seating a little bit. So so I think he's doing well enough that he's thinking long term. We suggested back then that he do more hours, and he can't, because he's a chef Monday through Friday at like
He's
a
got a
corporate
job.
chef. Yeah, right. It's like a corporate chef for some big company in Danbury or something, doing the day shift Monday through Friday. That's why he's only dinners Thursday, Friday, and then lunch and dinner Saturday, Sunday. So, and I don't know that he's ready to put all his eggs in one basket yet. I don't know that he ever will be. It's an interesting business model. I have to respect he's got to do what he's got to do. But that was what he shared with us at that time. But that was at the beginning of the summer, right, Trisha? It was the end of spring. He had done sort of a soft opening for a couple months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michelle, when is the Eckert Art Gallery opening?
Oh, I've got that with me. I'm gonna put an announcement in the selectmen's email this week, but they are having their grand opening Saturday, October 7th from 3 to 6. She said she's gonna be there before that, like on the weekends. Their gallery hours are Thursday through Sunday, 11 to 4. So she had said that it was Jane Eckert that I was emailing. I said she was going to be there some after Labor Day, but so that there would be some open hours before the grand opening. That's the grand opening. And I haven't
Any
heard of,
feedback on the Welcome Center?
no. If I ask somebody, everything I've heard has been extremely positive. But nobody, which I guess I just kind of take that as no news is good news. If people were gonna complain, I would have heard about it. I left up the mock descriptors, just like that I printed and put up with painter's tape. I left them up for like 2 months because I thought for sure somebody was gonna say, wow, that's not how that happened, or whatever, and never got any of that feedback. So it's everything's hung, everything's done. The only thing we didn't complete was the brochure rack, and we kept kind of hemming and hawing about how large it should be. Should it go behind the door? Should it not? And I kind of just let that go. I was also a little concerned that other people were trying to put stuff in there. Right now it's been great. Jen Pody, who's the director over there, has been able to keep the flyer board clean because it's locked and it's always up to date. It looks so much better than it did before. So yeah, no other feedback. I should check in with Liz because she's the one who opens it on the weekends. Has anyone else heard anything?
I've only heard positive things. And was getting kind of boring hearing the positive all the time. But it was a great project. It looks
Yeah.
great.
I'm thrilled with how it came out. I'm just writing myself to ask Liz. So I will say one thing, I don't remember if I've said this before. If I have, I apologize, but the Arts Council would like to have the depot, actually they're gonna try to do the depot and the green together, declared as a cultural district, which is the state, the state passed a resolution declaring these and explaining the process. And part of the application is that you have to have facilities available. So the Welcome Center is going to allow us to move forward with this cultural district. So that's kind of exciting. Oh, you know what? And we were going to do sort of a campaign once it was finished to kind of let more people know. I spoke to all the businesses on the plaza to let them know, to tell their customers that that the restrooms are there if they need them on the weekend. But we were gonna print up little signs and I never got to that. I was gonna try to combine, because we have signs all around the depot about the free Wi-Fi with the QR code. And I don't want to give people tons of signs to hang, but maybe we can make something that is all in one, the QR code to explore and the free Wi-Fi and a mention of the Welcome Center with facilities. It'll be interesting to see if we can get that all onto one without it looking too cluttered, but And let's play around with that. I made myself a note. Julia and I were gonna work on that and, I think we just kind of moved on and forgot about it. So we should think about that. Any other topics for discussion for future meetings?
Maybe you covered it already, but I'm not sure. What's the status of the depot sidewalks?
Oh, the Titus Harbor, yeah, that grant is still out there. I went to the DOT website last week to see if they had announced any kind of date. We don't know about the grant yet.
Okay.
And when I ran into the engineer that helped us put it together a couple weeks ago, because he was working on a bridge or something here in town. And I asked him about it and he said, oh, you never know with them. Could be months, could be next week, like. So, I don't know. I will, you all be the first people I tell if that comes through. Fingers crossed on that. Oh, I will say that we put out, finally got the highway department put our pedestrian signs out in New Preston and the depot. And the one by the supply didn't make it a whole half day before it got hit and broken.
Oh.
Yeah, so we were supposed to get the ones on the spring that can be, can handle being hit. And it does have some movement to it, but it's the trucks trying to make that turn that have a challenge. And when we put it out, we tried to put it in a place where it wouldn't get, I'm not really sure what happened because we had one make it all summer last summer. So I know it's possible. But that one didn't actually even make 5 hours,
Oh, man.
which is really sad. But it highlights the issue we have. And that is something that is consistent whenever I'm walking through the depot or talking to people, they talk about the traffic. Actually, while I was out there moving the thing, I had a woman from the supply who worked there tell me how she got hit by a car in that intersection a handful of years ago. But yeah. So she was happy to see that we were trying to put a warning, slow down sign. So that is still on the docket for something that needs to happen. And I need to do some brainstorming with DOT to see what they'll allow us to do. That particular corner is a challenge because of the trucks trying to make that hard 90-degree turn. But there's really nowhere else to put the crosswalk. You can't move the crosswalk off the edge because then they would end up in the parking lot at the supply, and that's not allowed. You have to have a safe landing place. So there are DOT rules about where a crosswalk can end. And that's the only spot that crosswalk can go. So it's really tight to the corner for those trucks. So we'll have to keep thinking about that one. Good question though. Thanks for reminding me about the grant. Do we have any other thoughts or future
Just
topics?
a future topic, not today, but the senior center, is something happening with that? And that could be a later answer as well, but
Yeah,
I
no,
just started thinking about it.
I'll give you the quick, I do have a meeting about it on Thursday. The selectmen and I have talked about sort of resurrecting that. The whole project stalled during our fundraising. We had some meetings set up, we had people get sick, we had a couple of deaths, and we just lost all of our momentum. And then now the ambulance building and the additional money that is going to be required has, I think, just made the selectmen take a pause for a moment.
Okay.
As they were trying to get that project fundraised, and it looks like they're going to be considering a bond for that. The estimate came back at, I think, like $3.4 million to renovate the building. Yeah, so I think so on Thursday I'll know more about what we feel we can move forward with. I know Jen Cody over at the Senior Center is frustrated. it's a tight space over there, and she's got a lot of great programming going on, and more people participating, which is fabulous. And I think that only helps make the case for the community center, showing that they've outgrown their space. So it is not forgotten, and it is frustrating to me that it is stalled. So I think it's one of the goals is to get that back on the docket for moving forward. Thank you, Fran. I'm glad, that project was born out of the EDC, and it was a project of Dan and Tony's that they really pushed for, and I want to make sure we see it through, but at the moment it is stalled. Do we have any other future topics? Usually it's, I think, spring and fall that we hear from Sandra Max about how Explore is doing, so that'll probably be coming up in the next month or two. And then, we usually do a 6-month mid-year review on our goals for the year, which I feel like I've been just working project to project, so it'll be good for me to touch back on our goals. I hope we haven't strayed too far. Right? Just get kind of going into day to day. All right. Fran, do you have any other WBA stuff? Oh, I have a question for you. I have a recurring on my calendar, the breakfast thing, but I don't think I've seen one happen for a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't quite know what's happened. I mean, the breakfasts are in limbo at this point, and I'm not quite sure why. So I'll report. I mean, one of us will report on that at the next meeting.
Right.
The main WBA activity at this point is the Harvest Festival, and Liz Page is the Wonder Woman who's really coordinating it on many, many levels. That's really the primary thing that's happening at this point. As a corollary to that, the WBA website, which was renovated with ARPA funds, she's also fine-tuning some of the back-end stuff of that in terms of payments and just making it more utility oriented. So more on that probably at the next meeting too.
Awesome. Yeah, I want to also give a little shout out to Mackenzie, Liz's daughter, who I popped in the store the other day, and she whipped out her laptop and showed me her spreadsheets. She can tell you all the vendors that have signed up for all the last years. She's got them in a spreadsheet, and contact information, and how many are out in town versus out of town, like all sorts of information. So it's great. And so far, I think the vendor turned out is good. Like
yes, it has. I don't know the exact count, but there are a lot of.
Either, but yeah. I think it's at least as many as ever been in the past.
Yes,
which is great. And she had a lot of, actually, because she was going through Explore, I think, to make sure that she had all the businesses in the WBA. She found a few links on Explore that were no longer active because I think Steep Rock had renovated their website, and so the links were now different. So she was actually it was great feedback to Explore to make sure we were keeping that up to date. So Mackenzie's doing a fantastic job. And helping Liz. Liz is too, of course. So yeah, looks like we just now have to make sure we do our sun dance. Is that a thing?
right.
Hope for good weather, because it always makes a difference. Thank you, Fran. Do we have any other business to come before us? Anyone, something to share? Visitors, we have Anne here. I'm not sitting here by myself. Anne from Voices. So thank you for coming. I'm not sitting in this room all by myself. Did you have anything you wanted to share with us? No. Yeah. All right. Well, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Could it, just before you do that, since Ian is there, I mean, the coverage of Washington invoices is pretty impressive at this point.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
I agree. I agree. Ian's doing a fabulous job, and it comes to a lot of meetings in person, right? Which is really, really nice. So thank you. We appreciate that. All right. Now, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Teresa. Where are we? 4:05. Perfect. Very nice.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
we're-
everybody.
Yeah, thank you all for coming on this beautiful day. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Same to you.
Thank
Stay
you.
safe, y'all.
See you all.